Back to another episode in Malfav. So actually, there are another platform. It's very useful for security researcher and malware analysts. It's called the malapi.io. So actually, malapi.io is a platform that contain a comprehensive of Windows API, Win32 API that can abused by threat actors or international adversaries. So in here we have a section of enumeration, of injection, of evasion, spying, internet, and the helper, anti-debugging, and ransomware. So actually you can click the export table to export the images, and you can just open it and try to zoom it and read a specific API. For example, for internet, we have an internet open A, we have a load library A, send, receive, WS startup, and WSS cleanup, listen, and shell execute, and so on. And beside each label name, there are a question mark. You can just hold the mouse cursor on it, and you got information about, for example, enumeration function associated with the system enumeration. For example, we have a create tool HEP32 snapshot of this one. It have a function name, description, library associated, associated attack, enumeration, and anti-debugging. You can click the documentation and get information about from the MSDN. For example, let's take a snapshot of a specific processes, as well heaps, a module, and threads by these processes. And that's a parameter, handle, create 32 snapshot, and dword. And actually the each values from here you can get information about it. And the return values are most important. If the function succeed, it will open the handle to the specific snapshot. If function fails, say invalid handle val. So let's back to our platform. It mentioned that create a tool help 32 snapshot is used to enumerate process thread and the module in a process actually, because thread, module, or handle is of course in the processes and related to the processes. So it can be used for process injection and for other purpose, and also for anti-debugging. Okay, because one of the associated attacks anti-debugging. For example, before malware start initial execution, try to enumerate the processes to find a process that related to antivirus or specific tool that use it for malware analyzer. And for example, in processes I have the same. I use it for enumerate process in the machine process enumeration. It can be also for process injection, and also it can be for some kind of anti-debugging or for a malware armoring. And in here we have a load library A. So load library A, so actually to use it for load a specific module into the address space. Okay, for example, you have a shell code, and you can use actually shell code use a load library A to execute inject the shell code into a could be specific process or independent processes. Also it can be to load a malicious DLL or weaponized DLL into a specific process for process injection or process handling. And we have another one. So sleep is one of the function can be used for suspending execution. For sometimes it can be for evasion, also for anti debugging. Again, the documentation is available here. So the return value is none, and you can get a how to code a syntax through the MSDN. For example, we have a spying. For example, get key state. So actually, it's used for retrieve the status of the specific virtual key. So actually, use it by keylogger, and associated attack is a spying. Yeah, get count is one of the ones on sleepx is debugger present. So actually, it's used for anti-debugging. For example, is debugger present to determine which debuggers has been presented. So actually, for example, only dbg xdbg has been presented, start round stop execution. So the return value of the current process is a running context of a debugger. So return value in the non-zero is success. It's not running, it's a return a zero. So there are many function that you can trying to learn from it. For example, internet open file is one of the important. HTTP send request A, and read file and write file, and download file also. It's try to download file from the internet and save it. So use a URL mode and the documentation from here. You can again read a documentation to get a brief information about it. And another one is the internet open A, so easy to initialize the use of a WinInet. So WinInet is more advanced than a socket. HTTP request, it's a send request. To send HTTP request to the server, it could be to check the panel is up or not, and so on. So actually, there are a lot of another API that you can try to learn from it and have a knowledge about it, because actually even the legitimate software uses specific APIs, but actually to have information about it, it can make your daily task a little bit easier than before it does. For example, in a helper, so it's a create file, create mutex, and actually find resource, load resource. So for example, let's find Control F and load resource. So actually load resource, sometimes a threat actor trying to embed additional payload in the resource section. So actually this load resource with the find resource, it trying to find a executable, additional executable that embedded in this PE, in this portable executable file, and the load resource start loading it and execute it. So actually you can try to find it, and you can try to contribute here, modify existing API or new API, and select the attack associated, for example, internet ransomware, helper, enumeration, and so on. Okay, well that's done. I hope it can be a little bit useful and make your daily taxes a little bit easier. Peace out.